Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the MonaLisa Monroe Morning Show. Grab your coffee or your tea, hunty, because we have a lot to talk about. But before we get started on those red hot topics, please go to my website, www.monalisamonroe.com. We've got t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got toast. Believe me, we've got you covered. And also, you could purchase my book, Life After the Diagnosis. If you know a survivor or you are a survivor, this is the book that you need. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started right, shall we?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the MonaLisa Monroe Morning Show, honey. Go grab your coffee and we got some tea and let's talk about some things. Now, before we dive into it and before we get started, I want you to visit the website. Yes. www.monalisamonroe.com. You can purchase the merchandise, please do. And also, after you watch the show, please click, like, and share the show. Friends, family, foes, who cares? Share the show. Thank you all for tuning in today. And I know this is a little different. I know this is a little actually, we started doing something like this when we first opened the show. We would do red hot topics. We would talk about the latest and the greatest. And then in 2022, we sort of went inward. We started talking about health and wellness and mental health and all that good stuff. Well, the month of May, of course, you guys, if you saw the show last Thursday, was me and my hubby Gary's anniversary. But today is a totally different feel. Today we are wanting to get some things talked about. Okay, so I want to preface this as saying that we are residents of Garden City, and Gary, my husband, born and raised here. And we've got a purpose, we've got a mission, we've got things that we want to accomplish. But all at the same time, we've been really quiet about some things. But it's time to talk about it. And we want to talk about it on the show. And I'm just going to open the floor up to my husband, Gary, because Gary has been in the race for a long time. And when I say the race, I mean running for mayor, running for chair of the Zoning and Planning Commission. He's been in this race. And we have encountered some. So I'm going to just open the floor for him to talk about it. So here we go. First question on the floor, or the statement on the floor, is let me set the record straight.
What is it? What's the song? I thought you was about to say,
let me clear my throat. Yeah, you know, I thought about playing that song. I promise I did.
Clear my throat.
Yeah.
But I guess starting off, and let me set the record straight. You said I've been in this race for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You said I've ran for mayor, ran for, it's not a running for, but serve on the Zoning and Planning Commission. But let me set the record straight.
Mm-hmm.
The race is not just running for mayor or running for chair of the commission. I'm running this race for the benefit of the city of Garden City.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a heart's desire, but it's a calling to rebuild, revitalize, and restore the not only the physicality of the city of Garden City, but restore a spirit of what we used to say back in the day, West Side pride.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's little little that essentially we can be proud of in the city of Garden City today, unfortunately. And so we have to restore that West Side pride. So my running the race is a race to rebuild, revitalize, and restore the city of Garden City.
Right.
To a city that was once teeming and thriving with a vibrant culture and community of people, of residents. Didn't matter what side of the highway you stayed on, there was a sense and a degree of West Side pride.
That's right.
Here in the city of Garden City.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when you have a heart for the people, when you have a heart to do good, and let me say this, just because you desire to do good, that doesn't mean it's going to be received with open arms.
That's right. That's right.
You understand? I think we were having this conversation the other day. The word of God states that of Jesus, he went about doing good.
Correct.
The whole premise and nature of him being in earth amongst us was to go about doing good.
That's right.
And not just for himself, not just for his own glory or pats on the back. He came that we might be saved.
Correct.
Okay, so him going about doing good was for the people that he came to save. And
they weren't always happy about it.
And they wasn't happy about it. And it's funny that, and not only so you have two segments of people.
That's right.
That you have the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were the status quo. Right? So we know the status quo wants to hold on to their power and position because it is financially beneficial for them.
That's right. The pigs, when he put the spirits, the demons in the pigs, and they were mad about it because the pigs were that was the money.
Right. You go back to when they stoned Stephen. Mm-hmm. They stoned Stephen,
right?
Because here it is, through the ministry of Stephen, they were losing money. Mm-hmm. And not only just greater than losing money, they were losing their fame.
Right.
They were losing their status.
That was
in the
what
community.
I was just going to say.
Because people began to follow Stephen. People began, it's just like Saul and David, where
Saul,
where
they were hurrah for David,
right?
10,000 for David,
Saul killed
and
his
thousands for Saul.
David killed his 10,000.
Right.
Saul, was envious of that.
That's right.
So they began to lose their status.
Yeah.
They began to just lose their prominence, their influence in the community, and so. I mean, when you look at, and I'm setting it up. When you look at Mordecai in the book of in Ruth, that it said Haman despised the very appearance, of Mordecai.
Correct. Did not do anything to them, but they despised the very appearance. So put a pin right there. As you walk this walk in Garden City, I have seen it firsthand. When you arrive on the scene, there is hatred, there is despising your very presence, and then don't let you speak.
Mhm.
It's like they start to get antsy or something.
Well, it was said by a council member a while back that when we first began this, that when we had communication, he was like, "Hey, man, they despise your very appearance. They despise the way you walk, the way you talk and communicate. They can't stand your voice, to hear your voice.
To hear your
Now,
voice.
this came from a council member. It need be, I'm not person to name drop here and there, but if it need be that we get to a place that we start talking about things in the city where we need to start, as they say, calling a spade in that sense. But
this is where we are.
But let me say this. I'm not surprised by that, though.
Well, see, because you live here.
No, it's not because I live here.
Okay.
Like I'm alluding to.
Mm-hmm.
I was sent.
Okay.
When I was in Bermuda, God put in my spirit that my time in Bermuda was up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was my purpose for going to Bermuda had been accomplished.
Okay.
And greater than me going to accomplish a work in Bermuda, God accomplished a work in me in Bermuda.
Okay.
Because it's almost like what's greater than taking the people to the promised land?
Mm-hmm.
And that is bringing the spirit of the promised land back to the people.
That's if the people want it.
Well, and so absolutely.
So
my promised land was living in Bermuda for 7 years.
Yeah.
A place of prosperity.
Yeah.
A picturesque place, whereas it's beautiful, it's amazing. The quality of life is unmatched.
But if no one has ever experienced that, or even can't even fathom that, by you trying to bring it to them, there's a rejection there.
And we could have absolutely because again, and so let me share this. So my calling in moving back is the book of Nehemiah.
Okay.
And it was in Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 5 that summed it up. That God says, I'm sending you back to the land of your father's sepulcher to rebuild it.
Okay.
Now unfortunate, it's never been about race for me.
Okay, for you.
It's been about building and the city of Garden City.
Right. So why in the world? No, I'm not even going to do that, because everyone knows that racism exists. We all know that. But we're not just talking about the other side. We're not just talking about the other team going against you.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about people that look like you. And that is where it hurts the worst, because you have people that look like you, know what you're trying to do, and they're against it.
Well, again, so let me,
and we're setting the record straight. We're laying it out there.
Yeah. So in that same scripture, we know that in Nehemiah there were this opposition.
Correct.
Sanballat and Tobias.
Correct.
Right. And the vitriol that Sanballat had for Nehemiah, as the word of God dictates, that his displeasure with Nehemiah and hate for Nehemiah was that they saw somebody who came back that cared for the city.
So that right there is something, because it's biblical and it's there and it's real. Because here you are having a person coming back to Garden City,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do good for Garden
For
City.
the entire city.
For the entire,
as
for the entire
all
city.
of Garden City.
All of
Yeah,
Garden
yeah,
City.
yeah.
Not just a part of Garden City, but all of Garden City. And yet you get,
Yeah, you get, and that's because again, you are impinging upon the, I won't say livelihood, but you're impinging upon the status quo in that
So-
sense. And not just the status quo, but, you know, people have different agendas for why
they do what they do.
get involved.
Okay.
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 For why they get involved. Some for status, some for staging, some for recognition,
Right.
some just to be a
Status,
politician,
recognition,
just to be a politician,
eat a steak.
in that respect or regard. But for me, it's never been about being a politician just to be a politician, to be a mayor just to be a mayor. You know.
So let's put you in the hot seat. Let's set the record straight. To make it very clear to my audience, to Garden City, to everyone around the US that watches this show, and trust and believe this show is viral. To set the record straight, why do you want to run for mayor?
Well, I mean, I just summarized it. First of all, it's a calling.
Okay. For those who don't understand,
it's a calling to fulfill. And I'm going to say, the one council member, Marshall Daniel, approached me one day when I was campaigning. And here's the funniest thing to me, that everybody that now has a dislike for me, when they first met me,
they liked you.
They loved me. When they first saw the plan that I presented to them,
they thought it was great.
It was awesome. It was awesome. That was Marsha Daniel. That was,
we name dropping,
Bessie Kigleiter. That it's not name dropping. It's just that
you calling it
communicating with. It was the Mayor Don Bethune. It was Mayor Pro Tem Bruce Campbell, Councilman Lassiter, Councilman Morris. Everybody sees the plan and is like, man, you know what?
The plan.
This is great for our city.
Okay.
And so Marsha Daniel she loved the plan so much that she has a friend, I think that's in engineering or something, and she wanted her to meet me to look at the viability of the plan. So I met with the friend on a number of occasions, and they thought it was the best plan ever to restore, rebuild, and revitalize the city of Garden City.
Okay.
But yet still, people seem to get on council or get elected, and then there's an environment that poisons, seemingly, the mindset of the people that within a month, seemingly, of being on council, people seem to turn against you. So
you're saying that bad company corrupts good morals? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, hey, that's a word. That's from the word. That's
how about this part? Whatever's in the heart,
sooner or later it's going to come out, manifest itself.
So in the
true intent is going to come out.
That is true.
Right.
So if you've always been true, then you'll always be true.
And one thing about me and everyone who's been involved in rebuilding the city of Garden City and who has been involved since I've been back, and I got involved in 2008. And so I've been consistent. I've been consistent in what I've been saying.
Yeah.
I've been consistent in my communication with people, my engagement with people, my interaction with people.
My thing is,
I've been consistent.
If they feel like you haven't, then there's a conversation. The backdoor stuff. Mr. Frazier, one of my favorite books about Nehemiah, Hand Me Another Brick by Chuck Swindoll. Mm-hmm. Perhaps you have it. Continue to be the Nehemiahs for such a time as this. A to the man. Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
It's funny, Mr. Frazier, that I would take that as hand me another brick.
Hand me another brick.
So I could build this wall.
Yeah.
But others are saying, hand me a brick so I can throw it. So I can hit Reverend Monroe in the head.
So I can throw it. And and that's the word too. But Bishop was just talking about that. If you don't have haters, then you're not doing something right.
Absolutely.
So I understand the concept of haters. I can appreciate the haters. The haters elevate you to do what you need to do.
Absolutely. And it's actually a confirmation.
Confirmation. Haters
that
confirm
you are doing
your purpose.
If you're doing what you've been called to do.
I can appreciate that.
So, but let me go back to you asking as far as what I came to do, and again, I had it was somewhat a confrontation with Councilwoman Marsha Daniel, and she actually, put a hand on me. And I'm not the only person that she put a hand on. She put a hand on another gentleman resident who
she put her hands on.
Oh yeah. That
this was before I came, y'all.
That was after a debate. And we've always had a pleasant spirit about it, right? And everything. But she said to me, why don't you leave us alone?
Why don't you leave us alone?
Why don't you leave us alone? I'm campaigning, and stopped and had this conversation with her. I saw her and said, why don't you leave us alone?
Who is us?
That's a question to ask. Who is us? And then she asks, what do you want?
What do you want?
And
what do you want to do?
Why are you running? Like, what's the reason for your running?
Okay.
And so, I shared with her, but before I asked her, before I answered the question, I say, well, why did you run?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I ran because I was angry. I said, well, I didn't run because I was angry.
Mm-hmm. Why did you
I'm
run?
running because I was called to run.
See, that's the thing.
I answered the call.
Everybody understands that.
I ran because I have a vision.
See, and that's what I'm thinking.
I'm running because I have a love for the city of Garden City.
That's what I'm thinking. People just don't understand. When you're called to something, they don't understand that. Either they don't understand it or they don't receive it in that manner. So I'm I know why. The people that are close to you know why, because you love Garden City, and the energy, the spirit of it all is because you're called to Garden City.
That's just it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
and that's the power of my endurance.
Right.
You say, well, how can you keep coming?
Mm-hmm.
How can you keep
going,
advocating, and when you are going into rooms where you are hated, where you are despised,
the atmosphere is thick.
Well, you got to say, hey man, it's because me running is not for those who against me. I'm running to answer God's call to revitalize and restore and rebuild this city. Okay. And it's an insatiable love and passion that you have. Like Jeremiah. Now there are times now, trust me, over the last 15 years,
mm-hmm.
over the last 13 to 15 years,
mm-hmm.
trust me, there have been times when you want to throw in the hat. Okay. There have been times when you want to say, listen, man, these people just don't want better. They just don't. They're fighting against the one who is trying to do something good, and you want to give in and give up.
I mean, I and it's crazy, but I totally get Martin Luther King. I totally get the whole thing when he had pastors going against him, when he had people that look like him going against him. It's like I totally get it now because I see it. It's, I never would have believed it, but I see it. So I owe you the truth. So this particular statement here is, we're going to tell you the truth about something that has been circulating in Garden City. So if you saw it, you received it, you heard about it, whatever, we're about to set the record straight right now.
Right.
So we're gonna give you a little history about it, and then we owe you the truth. Okay. So Gary Monroe, my husband, is running for chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And a lot of people are not liking that.
And you got to ask them why.
Oh, yeah. Like we care.
Like No. It's not that like we don't care. That's not
the position.
Why?
But why?
It's just a question of why.
Why don't you want Gary to be chair? So it has been brought to Gary's attention. Go ahead, honey.
Well, I received, give a little backdrop. Well, I'll say there's been a text message circulating under the guise that I generated this text. The text is actually signed essentially Gary Monroe, right? There's also been emails circulating amongst other commissioners, and I don't know who else received these emails, but some of the commissioners, mentioned this to me at the commission meeting the other night. And the text message,
false text,
essentially, the text message, well, okay, to put it into context, we are, in fact, it is what, May? So we are 5 months into the year, and we are just now voting who's to be the commission chair, commission vice chair, and I believe the parliament. We're now just voting, and we are supposed to make this vote.
This is supposed to happen
every year at the beginning of the year,
January.
But we're now just doing it.
May.
Right. So we had the nominations at our last meeting. So I don't know, about 2 weeks afterwards, there was a text message being generated, and it was me addressing one of the commissioners, and asking a favor to pass out gift cards. I don't know, it wasn't necessarily gift cards specifically, but gifts, and asking a person to do something, a favor for me, that I'm going to be passing out these gifts, I don't know, to other commissioners, staff members, or whatever, signed Gary Monroe, as if I'm trying to buy or persuade people to vote for me. I don't know. So, and then there was an email circulated, and the email suggests, as one of my commissioner, my colleagues stated, with Ashley and Nancy Cox, both of them stated, yeah, man, I received this email and about a gift, about this, about that. My colleague Nancy, she went on to say that in one instance, it was asking them for money. I don't know whether to donate or asking me for money, and but it was all made up. It's all bogus, of course.
The text and the email, Gary did not send, period. Yeah. So if you received a text or an email from Gary Monroe, it's false.
Well, it's funny because the people that communicated with me about the text and the email, they all said one thing that was unanimous among them all. The language in the text and the email, they stated, this doesn't sound like Reverend Monroe.
Right.
This doesn't sound like Gary.
And that's the thing to me. It's like the words, the voice, the tone, the way he states his narrative, and these emails and these texts are so ignorant. It's not from Gary Monroe.
So, and it's not just that. It's not just saying terminologies, but in some of the name usage, and that I don't even address people by. But in either case, this email and this text went out, and for whatever reason, for me personally, I've been asked, well, what have you done about it? What are you going to do about it? I said, what am I going to do about it? I'm not doing anything about it because I'm not worried. It's nothing that I have to worry about. I didn't generate them. I'm just speaking to you all that if you all receive these text messages or if you all receive these emails, and it's funny because, when you look at the text message, it clearly has someone else's number on it.
And that's the thing, because I think it's being forwarded from whoever's number or whatever the case may be. But the reason why we brought it forth today is because you're running for mayor in the next year. And we don't want this to hinder, mess with, whatever you want to call it, your chances in the future for running for mayor. Whoever...
I'm just not worried about that.
I understand.
I live in such a way, for me, I don't have to defend my character and conduct. Now, I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm not saying I don't have skeletons in the closet. I'm not saying that I'm this perfect human being or what have you, or whatnot. But, right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't have to hide who I am. That's just me. I live a life. I'm an open book, and I have no fear and concern of what someone think they can do to me. I have no fear of that.
I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really do. And all I can add to that, because of the way America or the way things are going, social media is a beast, and it is a generating force in decision making now. Why do you think Elon Musk bought Twitter? Social media is a platform that can shift gears. It can make major changes, or they could create a whole narrative that can run on its own. So with that being said, that's the reason why I felt like we owe you the truth to tell you that it was false, number one. And even though you could care less about it, and I can appreciate that, I don't want this falsehood to go in front of you because of what you're doing and because of who you are. Now, nothing can block God's purpose. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want anything tainted or jaded because of someone's ignorance, jealousy, whatever the case may be.
But
if you're looking and listening,
you can't fight that, because
you're not fighting it. You're confronting it. It's a difference.
I understand, but here's the thing to that. We speak on it, and to these oppositions and negative narratives that people will try to post out and put out. You respond to it, give a reply here or there, but that's what they have to do. I'm called to not look to the left nor look to the right, but look straight ahead and keep pressing toward the mark of my high calling. And that's been my staying power. Why won't you give up? Well, like Jeremiah, it's like fire shut up in my bones. You can't give up, because when I think about Miss Sister, Miss Eloise Johnson, who essentially gave me this calling over 30-some years ago. And I remember I was at the brink of saying, you know, I actually for the Garden City, president of the Garden City Homestead Association. And I was at a place, I said, you know what, man, you're trying to do for the community, and nothing seems to be materializing or happening. Mm-hmm. And you say, you know, I've done all I could do. Literally, I've done all I could do. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had written up a resignation to step down. Mm-hmm. And before I hadn't told anyone. And you know, my right-hand man is Dr. Minister Lingila Johnson. Mm-hmm. I hadn't even discussed this with him or the secretary or the administrator, Miss Sabrina Mack, who I confide everything to them with regard to the community and the organization. I didn't say a word. And that night, just before I was preparing to get up, Miss Sister, Miss Eloise Johnson, coming in on her walker, leaning over. Mm-hmm. And she just gave this exhilarating, inspiring speech of the fight, of the struggle, of you can't give up. It was amazing that as she spoke to everyone, she turned to me and she said, "You cannot give up."
My goodness.
And I cried in my spirit at that moment. Mm. And when I got home, the tears just fell because it was like, wow, I cannot give up. And, you know, so, you know, again, your drive and your determination is to do the will of God for the good of the people, the city and citizens of Garden City. And that's your impetus. That's your motivation.
Well, I tell you,
staying power.
That call is very heavy, and that purpose is very, you know, to whom much is given, much is required. And you definitely got to do this with the grace of God, because it's very disheartening to do for the people and love on the people and don't receive it back. And as a wife of a visionary, as a wife of a leader, as a wife of a change maker, atmosphere shifter, as a man of God, it is a task. And, you know, like I said, I keep thinking about Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, and she had to have stayed on her knees for her husband. And that's what I continue to do. And it is hard at times for me not to speak of anything in the flesh, because this mouth pops off. And I know that would mess up some things. So I just, you know, woo, Lord, Lord Almighty. But I wanted to have the show so this platform can be used, as well as be something that we could sort of push forth a different narrative, because I don't know what you think about us. I don't know what you think about me. And, you know, I just want you to know this is who we are. This is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to be whatever, you know, people call us this, you know, the power couple, I mean, we thank you, but all at the same time, it's heavy. It beats us up.
It's a calling to fulfill, you know. And listen, let me say to all the adjectives you just used to express your feelings toward me, as well as all the commendations that people make in regard to you and I being this awesome couple, power couple. And I learned this from Bishop Willie Farrell, powerful man of God, you know. And he would say, many don't encourage me, and few don't discourage me. I'll do it because of the love of God in me.
Mm-hmm.
So while I can appreciate the love being shown from you to me, the love being shown from people to us, I could appreciate that. But I do this but for the love of God, but for the praise of God, but for the glory of God. That's why I do this. I'm human just like everybody else.
No, of course. Yeah.
Not necessarily you have to pat me on the back, but it's motivating when someone say to you, you're doing a good job.
Correct.
You know? But you know, even in that, while I'm receptive to individuals or people in general saying that you're doing a good job, the greatest compliment and motivation that I ever got, and it's all I ever need, essentially, was to hear my parents say before they passed. My mom said, "Bo, we are proud of you."
Yeah.
And everybody,
Yeah.
my mom, she would express her love. She was
Right.
verbal in expressing that.
Right.
But everybody knows my father, he was a man's man.
Right.
And all my life, you know, he expressed his love for me by providing a home for our family, by going to work,
Mm-hmm.
by being at all of our sports games, whether it was football, baseball, or basketball. And his physical expression of love would always be him hitting me into my chest saying, "Hey, what's up, homeboy? You all right?" That's how he would express his love. "Hey, what's up, homeboy? You all right?" But I heard him say, and I'm going to share this. It was one of the years, could have been the first championship that Michael Jordan won.
Mm-hmm.
And when he won it, his father was there celebrating with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was to the house with my father watching the basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my father just sitting there looking, and he wasn't looking at Michael Jordan. He wasn't looking at the trophy. Mm-hmm. He was looking at Michael Jordan's father. And he said, "Man, I know that man must be proud of his son." And I'm watching him watch Michael Jordan's father looking at Michael.
That's huge.
Right? And I remember saying, "Man, I want him to look at me like that one day." Right?
I totally get that. I totally get that. So
we fast forward 20
mm-hmm.
plus years forward, and I moved back home, and now I'm somewhat his caretaker.
Right.
I'm starting the ministry. I'm working in the community, going about doing good, helping people. And my dad pulled me. He said, "Son, I'm proud of you, man.
That's everything.
You make people better. You make things better."
Right.
And I'm telling you,
that's everything.
I'm telling you. To hear him say that,
that's everything.
To hear my mom say that, it's like,
boom.
I don't need another pat on the back.
It goes back to scripture too, when Jesus was baptized, and then God says, you know, this is my son. Yeah, this is my son who I'm well pleased.
Absolutely.
And it does something to you. You know, my mom, it didn't hit me hard until I was grown. And she said that she was proud of me. And same for my dad. And I think if they would have told me in my 20s, I wouldn't have got it really. If they would have told me in my 30s, it would have been a little. But when they told me in my 40s, it just seemed like it was heavy on my spirit to be thankful and grateful for them in my life as well as me in theirs. So I totally get that and definitely respect that. So last but not least, the Garden City's future is bright because let me first address the avenue or the lane or the department that I'm in, and the way I feel like Garden City's future is bright. I'm in the housing business per se in Garden City. I'm the Garden City Housing Team President. And I think at this point, Garden City's future is bright because we have a mayor coming in that cares about Garden City, number one. And number two, residential housing is now on the floor being considered in every avenue, every city, every state. It is on everyone's mind.
And finally, on Garden City.
Garden City.
And you know, that's the funny thing. And that's the funny thing. And I'm going to be talking more and more. That is, while people have whatever perception of me, everything that I've spoken of from day one, 2008 until now, like I said, has been consistent. Everything that that was stated that I was wrong about always came to fruition as being true.
And it's okay.
I said in 2008 that it was not a good idea to build the city hall there. And I stated that in 2010, eventually we're going to have to levy a property taxes. No, we won't. Our financial position, condition, and outlook is great. It's stable. The citizens of Garden City will never have to take this burden. And how do you know this, Reverend Monroe? You don't even come over here at the city meetings. When you read the budget,
honey,
and you realize that you have close to $1 million shortfall in 2 or 3 consecutive years, you realize that ultimately,
honey,
your general fund is going from 14.7 million, which it has the highest it's ever been in the year, 2009. And within 5 years, your end of year fund balance is 3.2 million.
Honey, you have a vision,
right,
that no one else saw. You were just ahead of your time. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Everything that you have said, that you have done, has came into fruition because you saw it. So yeah. I really, my thing is, they didn't hear it because they couldn't see it. It's just like
and also because of who was saying it. We don't want to receive it because who was saying it.
That too.
Okay.
So the Garden City's future is bright because now the prophecy has been revealed and it's basically getting played out right now. That now
we need
residential housing
on residential development, residential housing. No, we're gonna build out this city hall. We're gonna build out this town center. And trust me, when I say to you, citizens of Garden City, that we have invested over $45 million into this city hall and town center, when I say to no avail, I mean to no avail.
That's hard to believe.
To the point whereas we don't own anything over here except the foundation that the city hall sits on. And really, we don't even own that because they sold us on the fact that the city hall's loan debt will come to maturity in 2019. What year is this?
2022.
It's 2022.
Yeah.
And year after year after year, we keep refinancing that loan, extending its maturity date. 5 years later, 10 years, I don't know. I'll have that number for you maybe the next time, or when it is supposed to come to maturity now.
And that's the thing. There's a running of the country. There is a time, like Mr. Frazier said, everything is being placed where it's being placed. People are being placed in positions for such a time as this. And it just so happened, your girl MonaLisa is over the housing department. I'm telling you right now, people that know me, know my history. I have a passion. I have a strong passion in this area because I lived this life. I lived it. It's not what the kids say. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I get it. And God knew that I was going to not just have knowledge in it, but have compassion and empathy for the people that are going through it. So that is the future that I see for Garden City when it comes to housing. It is very, very bright, and I am looking forward to doing the most.
And let me say, Garden City's future, to your question, is bright because of what? Garden City's future is bright because the glory of God will shine.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. No doubt.
The glory of God is going to shine. And the brilliancy of that glow is going to illuminate this region and set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Okay. And I say that because the word of God states that the people who sat in darkness saw a great light. That's my hope. That's my prayer. That's my plea. That's my petition. That the people, the citizens of Garden City, will see a great light. And on that, we only have a few minutes left. That you will see the light. If I had to make a closing remark, a statement here today, it would be, citizens of Garden City, don't look at the color of my skin, or don't allow the color of my skin to dissuade you about my heart and passion for the city of Garden City. Mm-hmm. Okay? Not the color of my skin, but for the calling on my life, and that is to revitalize and rebuild the city of Garden City. I'm going to say this to you, that if you've heard something about me before you ever met me, then that should suggest to you that the opposition is trying to poison your mind. And I will say this, arch enemy number one, and that's the current mayor, Mayor Don Bethune. He has made it his life choice, as he stated in a meeting over 10 years ago, or when he was first elected. We got to stop Reverend Monroe. Now you got to ask, what is it that you're stopping him for? Why? Why stop him? Why do you want to stop him? He stated to me when he initially ran for mayor, we were at the motorcycle shop on 21. They were having a show there that morning or afternoon. And he and his wife were there, and they came up to me. We both were campaigning. He stated to me, he was running for mayor. Scott George was running for mayor. I was running for mayor. He stated to me in front of his wife, he says, I just want to be the mayor. Just one time. That's it. I just want to be the mayor, essentially, just to be the mayor. Right. And he stated, after that, y'all can have it. Mm-hmm. Okay. He became mayor, but he ran again.
Yeah.
And he ran again for this purpose, because I only ran because I don't want Reverend Monroe to become the mayor.
It's sad.
That's it.
It's sad.
That's why we have not seen anything done in Garden City. And the only reason you would see something done, let's mark this moment. The only reason you will see something done from this moment is when I begin to speak against it, they're going to respond to it to do something. How long have we been fighting for something to happen on Haynesfield?
Oh my gosh.
We've been fighting forever. fourth district to get the Haynesfield property developed. See, I've been in this race a long time. When we first acquired Sprague Elementary and Haynes Elementary, I petitioned the city then to not raise or tear down those two structures, that we could utilize those two structures for community centers and as an outlet that we could use as for citizens of Garden City, for people of the community can use as a community center that can service every aspect of the community. They decided to tear them down. This was way back in the 90s. And when I come back in 2007, the properties are yet dormant, nothing.
And when I come back around and want to put housing there, they disagree and nothing there. Let me read this real quick. Mr. Frazier, Garden City is bright, morning, noon, and night. She's part of our new day, for she is overcoming. She come what may, brick by brick, y'all keep on building the wall, wisely, joyfully standing ever so tall. Thank you, sir.
You know, my
grace and truth every day.
My mantra,
thank you, Mr. Frazier.
My mantra, he says brick by brick. My mantra is the garden song.
That might be brick by brick. We might have
the garden. My mantra is the garden song. Inch by inch, row by row, we're gonna make this garden grow. I promise you that. But by the grace of God, citizens of Garden City,
hello,
black citizens, white citizens, Hispanic citizens, Asian citizens, it doesn't matter. Inch by inch, row by row,
come on
with
now,
every fiber in my being.
Yep.
But by the grace of God, we're going to make this garden grow.
Let's go.
Okay? We're going to make this garden grow.
And
I'm going to say to you, anyone perhaps who is running for mayor and all they can say to you is, don't vote for Reverend Monroe.
That's a problem.
If all they can say to you is that he's not good for Garden City, or he's only concerned about the black community, if my name comes up at all in their campaigning to become a mayor or council member in Garden City, I want you to know that they are letting you know that they have no other agenda but to stop Reverend Monroe from helping you. I want to say this to staff members.
Bottom line.
I want to say this to staff members, to new people that's coming in. If you hear about me before you ever meet me, don't prejudge me. Because if you do, then that would mean you are prejudiced. Because prejudice is a combination of prejudge. You prejudged me. Get to know me. There have been staff members who have prejudged me. They've been poisoned. I'm going to say this. Bruce Campbell, you've been poisoned by Mayor Don Bethune. Kimberly Tice, you're a sweet woman. I believe you're a fair woman. But don't let the poison of Don Bethune, don't let Don Bethune poison you about who I am. Debbie Ruse, you seem to be a nice lady. I've never really had it up. You've never met me. So it's strange to me why you would have a disposition toward me of dislike. Don't allow Don Bethune to poison you. Marshall Daniel, you're a sweet lady. Before you got on council, before you got under the auspices of Don Bethune, you had a liking for me. Redeem yourself. Don't allow his poison to continue to permeate your mind. Councilman Morris, Councilman Lassiter, don't allow them to poison your mind. Don't allow anything to cause you to disconnect with me, to disregard our love, our passion, and our hope for not only the 3rd and 4th districts, but for the entire city of Garden City. So with that, stay in tune because there's more to come.
So we're going to end on that note. And I just want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Thank you, Mr. Frazier, for your comments. We just wanted to come clean. We just wanted to come with our truth and to let you know about how we feel, who we are, and what we're going to do. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and click like and share the show. If you have any comments, please.
Don't you have a show at night?
Tag them. And we will be back at night.
So tonight, if I don't have
MonaLisa.
anything on my schedule, I'm going to come back with Madam MonaLisa, and we're going to talk about what's happening, the unfairness and injustice that's happening at City Hall as it relates to the Zoning and Planning Commission.
Yeah,
we're
we'll
going to
make
talk
a plan.
about that. Okay,
we'll be
and
back.
I'm going to let you be the. We're going to put what's happening in the lap of public opinion.
There we go.
And then you tell me what you think.
We'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.